Did Meghan Markle steal Prince Harry from the royal family just the same way that Yoko Ono stole John Lennon from the Beatles? Does Meghan embrace these comparisons to Yoko Ono? A lot, because there are four key events. I've been looking into this with Yoko Ono and John and the Beatles. Okay, so Yoko Ono married John Lennon in March 1969. Brian Epstein, the manager of the Beatles, who brought the Beatles to fame and nurtured them and everything, he died August 26, 1967, suddenly from a drug overdose. So March 1969 to August 26, 1960. Oh, so before John married Yoko, Brian Epstein died. Then the Beatles, then Yoko Ono, Plastic Ono Band, September 1969. So John and Yoko married March 1969. September 1969, they did a separate album, okay, with Yoko Ono being the star name. And then number 4, the Beatles broke up in April 1970. So literally 1 year, essentially 1 year from the marriage of Yoko Ono and John to the Beatles' official formal breakup announcement was 1 year. Okay, some other things that were really weird. She would join John. She would join the Beatles in the studio, and no wives or girlfriends were allowed in that studio. But she joined them in the studio, and she would even follow John to the bathroom. Okay, and then she started her own band. Honestly, Yoko looks like a control freak to me, and I think the comparisons are actually very interesting. Just like the comparisons between Meghan Markle and Wallis Simpson are very interesting. I think Meghan Markle is very much like Wallis Simpson and may model herself somewhat after Wallis Simpson. I wonder if Meghan models herself somewhat after Yoko Ono, and we'll explore this. Some background on John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Okay, they met at one of her art shows. Yoko Ono didn't know who John Lennon was. She'd only heard of Ringo, I think, Lennon told Rolling Stone in 1971. Does that sound familiar? Meghan said she didn't know who Prince Harry was, and she had been obsessed with him her whole life. She had been obsessed with the royals, and she took photographs of herself as a teen in front of Buckingham Palace. They were both shy. She later approached him for financial backing for one of her art shows and gave him a copy of her book, Grapefruit. And in reading the book, John Lennon said he began to fall in love with her. Quote, Yoko is as important to me as Paul and Dylan rolled into one, Lennon told Rolling Stone. Okay, as important to John Lennon as Paul McCartney? Okay, the greatest musical pairing in history, and Dylan. Dylan would have been his idol. Okay, so that's how John Lennon formulated his music, those two people. Quote, I don't think she will get recognition until she's dead. There's me, and maybe I could count the people on one hand that have any conception of what she is or what her mind is like or what her work means. He has a very exalted image of herself, okay? Any kind of narcissist is always they're going to wear a mask and have this tremendous, amazing image that they display to you. And they're essentially perfect. And we notice that Meghan is always suing anyone who says anything that she doesn't love because she is perfect. Yoko Ono seems to be the same way. John Lennon asked Yoko over to his place. His wife was away, and he played recordings for her. They collaborated on Two Virgins, completing the track as the dawn broke, and at that point made love. It was very beautiful, said Lennon, according to the Australian site Who. John's wife returned to find them in robes. Oh my goodness. Okay, in their bed, here's this strange woman, Yoko Ono. Divorce followed soon after. There was a pregnancy and a miscarriage. John began bringing her to rehearsals and recording sessions with the other Beatles. She wasn't as stupid or emotional as me. Okay, that's a no-no. And right after that, the band broke up. You can't. I had a narcissist girlfriend who forced her way to a dudes meeting with me and some other dudes, and all the dudes are like, "Why is she here? We told you not to bring her." I'm like, I couldn't get rid of her, and then I was trying to. I'm like, I'll take her away now, and I couldn't get rid of her. You can't get rid of her. Okay, she even follows him to the bathroom, and she was with him when he was murdered. Okay, and an interesting tidbit about that: the day that John Lennon was murdered, he was 40, is the day that Annie Leibovitz took photos of them. David Chapman is the guy who killed him. Annie Leibovitz came and took her iconic photos of John Lennon naked with Yoko Ono. And that picture. Good day, YouTubers. Welcome back to my channel. Time for a spot of royalty. This says, I broke up the Beatles. That's Yoko. And Meghan says, hold my beer. That's interesting because, this is just on Google Images, and this is what people think. They believe it. There was a lot of things going on with the Beatles. The death of their manager, that's like the general leading them into battle, and that was taken over by Paul, and Paul was maybe, they didn't really want Paul to lead them. There was a lot of things going on, a lot of dynamics in the band, but Yoko seems like an incredibly controlling person. But anyway, let's look at Meghan and her comparisons to Yoko Ono. Does Meghan embrace these comparisons? Let's take a look at that. Is she like, she doesn't mind, or she's like, heck no, I'm nothing like Yoko Ono. What is her reaction to being compared to Yoko Ono? Because Yoko's pretty famous. Ooh. What's her reaction to being compared to Yoko Ono? Reacting very publicly, she embraces it. Publicly, she embraces it. That's her reaction. 7, 2 clubs. So publicly, she embraces it. Her first reaction was, oh, heck no. She didn't like it. She felt that it was a criticism, which it kind of is, but she pondered it and she decided that this can really work for her. Okay, she's associating with someone who is incredibly famous. I mean, John Lennon is, Yoko's associated with John Lennon. John Lennon is one of the most famous, most accomplished musicians, like, ever. He's like a modern Beethoven. So, she officially embraces it. Her initial reaction was, oh, heck no. But she feels like this kind of works for her. Okay, in the outcome, she has secretly, she doesn't like this connection. Emotionally, she doesn't like this connection. But Roses and Man, she feels it's a bad idea to criticize Yoko Ono or John Lennon. So playing it safely, she doesn't want to offend. I think she doesn't want to offend Yoko Ono. But her gut reaction is she doesn't like it at all. Okay, but her public reaction is, oh, she loves it. She loves it. No problem. No problem. So Yoko Ono is following John Lennon into the bathroom. Yoko Ono is following John Lennon to, the band, the studio, the bandmates only, and she won't leave. Oh my goodness. So was Yoko Ono a terrible, terrible control freak over John Lennon? So let's look at Yoko and John Lennon, because all of this we're doing with an eye towards Meghan, because I do see some similarities here. So Yoko and John Lennon. Was Yoko just control freaking all over John Lennon? Yoko. Oh my goodness. John Lennon. Because a narcissist will look for a codependent, someone who's just sweet and nice and wants to please. And John Lennon is the guy who wrote Imagine. Imagine there's no religion, imagine this, imagine that. He's such a sweet guy. He's a hippy-dippy guy. She was very hippy-dippy when they met. What do we have over here? Executioner, ruthless, and with a plan. It's not about John at all. It's not, she can act completely outside of the relationship, and she has a master plan. Woman, so 25, 27, and cross, marriage. She has a master plan which she's going to execute, and I think her goal is marriage. She wanted that man, and she's going to get him, and she did get him, and she's sleeping with John Lennon in the bed that he sleeps with his wife in, and they're caught. Did she plan all of this? I mean, the executioner could say that she actually maybe planned all of it, including the wife coming in and discovering her in her bed, because she would have known that the wife could have come back, and she's like, well, I think I should probably leave. And, did he say, I think you should probably leave, and she's like, no, I'm really tired, or just ignored him or something. What do we have with John Lennon? Bad relationship, ongoing bad relationship and actions. 9, 14, the structure of the relationship was just fundamentally unhealthy. So incubus succubus is very, very selfish. So it wasn't a good relationship. And we have the ultimate card. She's completely in control. The executioner does whatever he or she wants. She's showing the executioner. So the executioner is a judge, a mob boss, a police officer. They're not questioned. If you resist them, they can shoot you or put you in prison. Okay, and she was in complete control, and it was not a good relationship for him. It was very unhealthy relationship for him. So I would say that the question I asked is, was she a control freak? Absolutely. Yoko Ono was absolutely a control freak over John Lennon, and it was very unhealthy. Imposed will in decisions. 12. She's constantly imposing her will on all the decisions. So a control freak, imposing her will on the decisions, on the path that they're taking in life. And her goal was marriage, and she got him. Which, that's kind of what Meghan did. Meghan's goal was marriage. Meghan is always copying everybody. Is Meghan intentionally, because we see her copying Diana with the green dress. We see her looking exactly like Wallace Simpson in the recent, video chats. In one of them, she looked so weird. She looked like Wallace Simpson. Is Meghan intentionally copying Yoko Ono? Because a narcissist, they don't have a strong sense of self because the self is so damaged. And so they take on the characteristics of others, and they imitate, they copy. And this is very common. And they try to make like an exact copy. Like, I don't know if I shared this story with you. I was walking on the beach. I lived in Florida for like 3.5 years. And I'm walking on the beach one time. And there's this guy flying this drone. And it just sounded like a gigantic bumblebee. And so I look up, and there's this drone. And then I end up talking to the guy. And he's an exact copy of Casey Neistat. Just step by step by step. Every single thing he's doing, the expressions on his face, the format of his videos, everything is an exact duplicate of Casey Neistat with no differences at all. He didn't really add anything. I mean, it was exactly what Casey Neistat was doing, but it was in Florida along the beach. That's what a narcissist does. They don't change anything. They try to make an exact copy, an exact replica. So I could definitely see Meghan copying Yoko. I can see her copying Diana. I can see her copying Wallace Simpson. She's also copying, I'm not sure who she's copying, but she's definitely, playing this woman of color card, the woman of color cards. And I'm not sure, is it Beyonce? I'm not, I'd be interested in your comments. Who is Meghan mimicking, with her woman of color shtick? But let's see, is she copying Yoko? Let's look at Yoko and Meghan. Is she intentionally copying Yoko? Yoko and Meghan. Oh gosh, more perfect cards never appeared. Okay, so foundation, relationships, 23, six clubs. Her foundation, her rooting is in, the structure of her life is her relationship. Meghan figures out who she is by the people around her, the reactions of people around her. And she manifests her foundation through the relationships around her. So literally anyone that's around her, she is copying them. This is normal. Okay, if you hang out with somebody and they're like your best friend and you're seeing them all the time and they say dude this and dude that and dude, you might pick up those expressions and start saying dude all the time. She goes beyond this. The foundation of who she is manifested by the people around her. She determines who she is based on the people around her. So if she's with the cook, Corey Vitiello, she's now a chef and writing cookbooks. If she's with the royal, Harry, she's now a royal. And my narcissist, she literally stole my whole life. She just stole I had this vast network of friends. I was a leader in the church. I was at the top of everything. And she just stole all of it and tried to become me. It was, I can't believe it. And that's definitely, I feel like that's what Meghan is doing to Harry. Harry was a Prince of England, and now she wants to be the Queen of America, and she's just stealing all of it. And in a normal relationship, there would be some leftovers for Harry. Okay, but she's going to take it all because that's what she's doing. She determines who she is by the relationships around her. Is she copying Yoko? What do we have on Yoko's side? Cross, inheritance, four-leaf clover, 11 and 10. We also have 6 hearts again. So foundation, the spine of structure is very actively created on the relationship. So Meghan is copying Yoko Ono. She's copying everybody. Oh, and here on the bottom we have devil and home. She's stealing from those closest around her. The devil is completely selfish and evil. Okay, so she's just sucking the life out of the people in her environment. 15, very actively. 4 clubs. So actively, she's kind of just sucking the life out of the people around her. Yeah, so who Meghan isn't, without the people around her, Meghan isn't anybody. She figures out who she is based upon who is around her, who she can react to. Okay, and she's like, oh, I like that. I like what Yoko's doing there, so she takes that. Oh, I like what Harry's doing there, so she takes it. And then she might say to Harry, why are you copying me? When in fact she stole these behaviors from Harry. Was it Yoko Ono's plan to steal away John Lennon and break up the Beatles? Was that her plan? Was it her plan to get him all to herself and just break up the Beatles, the most successful rock band in history? Was this Yoko Ono's plan? Was it Yoko Ono's plan to break up the Beatles and steal him away? She's ruled by her emotions. Let's see. Very clever, and she was in charge and very emotional. 25, 35, 9 clubs. Interestingly, Yoko is showing the 10 hearts. Meghan always shows the 10 hearts. So this is another comparison where Yoko seems to be very ruled by her emotions, but very clever underneath. I think maybe Yoko was playing kind of the same game. Always appearing very emotional, committed over the long term to the best interest, family. Mm. She just had a master plan. She came off as very emotional, but she's going to carry it out. She's like iron. She's iron. She's an iron bar inside a velvet glove. So, okay, I don't see breaking here. I see her controlling him. She's controlling him emotionally, and she did want him. She wanted him long term. She wanted to be connected to him long term. So it wasn't necessarily her goal to break up the Beatles, but she had to have John, and she had to have John Lennon, and if that's how it's going to be, that she breaks up the greatest rock band in history, then so be it. Okay, let's review. Does Meghan embrace the comparisons to Yoko Ono? Emotionally, no. She doesn't love this. But publicly, yes. And she feels like it would just be a bad idea to insult Yoko Ono or the memory of John Lennon. So this is finally one example where Meghan is just not like acting out of reaction. So right in the middle is reacting. Okay, right in the middle, the center of this spread is reacting. So she did take counsel, and she decided that it was better not to, say anything negative about Yoko Ono or John Lennon, because these are very powerful people. Was Yoko Ono a control freak over John Lennon? Absolutely. These are the most control freakish cards I've ever seen. And she's imposing her will on all the decisions and their path in life. And it has nothing to do with John Lennon or their relationship. She doesn't honor the relationship at all. So these are very, very cold-hearted, controlling cards. Okay, no one looks further into the future than the executioner. No one is more ruthless than the executioner. So really has a master plan. She doesn't care about the relationship. It's like John doesn't exist. And it creates a negative relationship, and she's imposing her will. So Yoko Ono is the ultimate form of control freak. And I've seen this a lot in the artistic community. I started in the artistic community, and then I went into accounting and legal stuff, and this is more artistic. YouTube is a bit more artistic. So in retirement, I've written some books and more artistic. So is Meghan does she intentionally copy Yoko? She decides who she is based on who's around her. She definitely copies everyone. Okay, anyone in her environment, she is gathering, she is pumping she's pumping that person for who are they, and she steals it. The devil is a thief and a liar and capricious and mean. So she steals from the people around her. So she's constantly doing that. That's how she creates who she is. And it's interesting that she's rejected Thomas and her whole family. We're still not understanding that. And a documentary is coming out. Thomas is doing a documentary, thank God. So was it Yoko Ono's plan to take John Lennon away from the Beatles to break up? It's not all about breaking here. It's not about breaking. This is not a spread about breaking. It's about her having John over the long term. So emotionally, she wanted John Lennon, and she's just going to carry out her plan to have him. And whatever that means, breaking up the Beatles, destroying planet Earth, as long as she gets what she wants, because she's absolutely ruthless. So Yoko is a big-time control freak. I think there's some very nice comparisons here between Yoko and Meghan Markle. Some very, very good, very apt comparisons. That's how I see it. I'm Joseph Magi, author of Playing Card Divination, Fortune Telling, The Magi Method. Find the book worldwide on Amazon and Kindle and paperback versions. Find the full color card deck used here on Etsy/Magi Method. Many thanks to the generous folks who bought me a cup of tea. Please feel free to share, comment, and